The science of building leaders had its origin almost 20 years ago. About 20 years ago, I was perplexed with the question, if leaders really are developed, right? If there's, some sort of development that happens to leaders that makes them great, right? What's the actual process of developing the leaders? And really, there are three big phases to building a leader. The first phase is the formative phase. And there's a number of things that happens in this stage. Among them is where a person starts to develop character. Character is absolutely critical for leadership development. If you don't have the right character, and character actually is split into a number of things. It's not just the character we think of like moral character, whether you give or you want to share or you have integrity. That's one part of character, which is moral character. There's also performance character. And performance character is the ability to do stuff, right? To execute, to be able to have grit, to be able to have willpower, to be almost having self-control. All these things are performance character. And the final part is your beliefs, or what we call worldview, right? We used to call that intellectual character. So that's character. But it also, a number of other things happen in the formative stage. Among them, if you think about it, it's your first role model. Whoever is your first role model, ultimately, right, will inspire you to become like that person. There's also a number of other things that happen. One very important part is your first leadership experience. If you have a negative leadership experience, you will start to believe that you're not a leader, that you're not capable of leadership development. So those things happen in the formative stages. The second part is really what we call the emerging stage. All these things that happen in the foundational formative stages start to become solidified, and you start to emerge into a leader. And here is where identity is important. Who am I? What's my purpose? What's my legacy? This is where vision starts to formulate. And this is where crucible moments, bad things that happen to you, the things that cause you to feel angry and injustice has happened, transpires into developing a vision for yourself. And you start to develop a sense of identity. You also start to understand your role in society. You also believe, you start to formulate, this is what I'm good at. Here's my strengths. Here's my weaknesses. And here's how I can really get things done. And this whole emerging stage establishes you as a leader. And now the final stage in the science of building leaders is the executing stage. And this is where you execute as a leader. You start to develop deep competencies. And your competencies are based on your vision. You start to develop specifically required skills and ability, whether it's functional or personal or leadership related skills that enables you to execute your vision. And really, that's the executing stage of leadership. And ultimately, it leads to a point where you start to want to leave a legacy. And what does that mean? That means you become a teacher. And the best leaders are teachers. They give back. They start to have a leadership point of view, and that's the ultimate part of leadership. So really, the science of building leaders, three big phases: the foundational phase, the emerging phase, and ultimately the executing phase. And all three has multiple different permutations. And it's not a linear process, it's all over, but there is intentional interventions that you can build, that the person that you care about and want to develop is developed into a leader. That's the science of building leaders.